We're here, jump off, and we're about to debate. So we've got SuperMalcom, we've got Kashmir, Kymberlee Jay, Jonzi D, myself, Hakeem, Twist and Pulse, and we also got Tony Adigun, and finally on the end we've got Mr. Omar Paloma.
As street dancers, it's about developing yourself first rather than focusing as a crew. I think we have it kind of backwards. People are focusing more on how do I develop my crew rather than how do I develop myself. For me, a competition, if you're competing with your crew in street dance, it's not just choreography, you've got to battle at the same time. The essence of street dance was everything was competitive, even in hip-hop culture. Everything was competitive, so we're losing that by just performing to an audience, and you don't actually challenge yourself as an individual, because what made a crew back in the day was the individual within the crew, not the actual crew itself. Right?
I agree.
So I think there's not enough individual battling, because when you have someone who's an accomplished street dancer, oh, do you enter any solo battles? No, they've never done it. 15 years in street dance and they've never done a solo battle. That doesn't make no sense.
I wouldn't go into a competition because what I do is more kind of like the realms of Tony. It's like, I'm not going to go in a street dance competition where it's the technique.
In the street dance competition, you got experimental. People that actually do hip-hop, house, breaking, whatever, they go there and they do whatever they want to call it.
To do that within a piece of like choreography, then it still becomes something outside of it. But yeah, if you did it in an experimental battle and just a boot, it would be okay. But if a group of people are doing it, it's not okay.
You hear someone call themselves a street dancer and say that they don't battle, doesn't really make sense, because without battling, like the essence of battling, competition and competitivism, there would be no hip-hop. There wouldn't be a multi-billion-dollar enterprise, the rap, the MCing, graffiti. That wouldn't be happening without the competition, which is why America's so good at creating new things.
I think you're always going to have differences of opinion depending on the background. We, as battlers, we always going to support that kind of direction. Other people might think different, might have their knowledge or their understanding from a completely different perspective. For me as a dancer, if you want to grow, you need to exchange, not necessarily what you call battling. Don't be scared of the word battling, but go to cypher, go to jams, go to different competition. You're going to see that, you know, it's not that scary.
Does anyone have a problem between the balance of battle competitions and showpiece competitions? Do you feel there should be more battles, there should be less battles, should be more showcase? Anyone got any views on that?
There should be more battles.
Yeah.
As much as I liked choreographed dance, the minute you choreograph it, you take it a step away from street dance.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying that that's wrong, but I'm just simply saying that it is a step away from street dance. Street dance is you and the music of time, and that's it.
My story, it's the reverse of that. I got into street dance by joining a crew that taught me choreography, and off of the back of that, I then learned very specific styles. I started to learn to lock, to pop.
But did you dance before you joined the crew?
No, I had 3 left feet before I joined that crew. I joined that crew because I wanted to be cool, and they look cool, so I said, I'm joining them. And I stuck out like a sore thumb at the back, going the wrong way, hitting any beat. But eventually, years and years and years of them accepting me, I finally sort of fell into it and started to understand it and started to pick up the choreography, and then I started to feel the styles, and then there were specific music types. I started to listen to funk and think, you know what, I really feel this. What's the dance style that's specific to this? So I started to train in locking, and you know, and that's where I sort of grew. So I came out of the choreography entirely, went into doing all the freestyle stuff, learning the locking, the popping, the b-boying, eventually the crump stuff. And then I kind of fell back into the choreography again. So for me, it's a slightly different story, and I understand that you should kind of have that feeling first, but I never had that.
I don't know that it automatically follows that you should have that feeling first. What Jonzi said is actually quite profound. I actually grew up in Brooklyn, in New York. And I can tell you that when we were kids, like you said, there were no formal competitions, but there were battles, and there were competitive things that we did to attract girls mostly. And the whole idea of winning a battle, the reason why everybody knew is because if you ran out of moves, you were smoked, and there was no question about it. Now we have these artificial time limits. We were talking about this earlier. That kind of changes the context of all of it. But when we went into clubs, we did our own version of ghetto line dancing, right? And that was choreographed. It's not an automatic thing that you can't do choreography. I'm just simply saying you've got to understand the context within how it exists.
Dancers coming into it, we can't throw them off the scent in saying, well, you only do choreography, so therefore that's it, and that's the end of it. I think actually they should be given the opportunity to find a route in, whether that's reality TV or whatever, but there should be a system in place that says, right, now that you're in, this is it on a wider scale.
Nowadays, most people find their way in that way. And it's about us, like our generation now, is saying, okay, you've come in through choreography, but now, really and truly, for me, what I say to my dancers and everyone that I teach, the most important thing is not what I'm telling you to do.
It's what you.
It's what you want to do because of what you hear from the music.
Exactly.
And that's it. For me, that's the basis of everything. And as soon as you tell someone you have to do this, I think we're trying to replicate something that is a natural instinct that can't be done.
Yeah.
Because a lot of dancers, they don't know how to dance. They know how to learn routines.
Yes.
When you put them in the club, they will be stuck. You'll be amazed. They will be taking classes all the time, but you take them in a club, they will be stuck. And I'm not asking you to spin on your head or anything like that. I'm just asking you to dance, to express yourself.
When I started dancing, my brothers used to dance to Greg Edwards' Soul Spectrum on a Saturday night. I'll just be there dancing, jam. The other day, I was somewhere and I was jamming and there was some house music on. I was just jamming. And someone was like looking at me going, oh, what, you house? I was like, no, actually, I just dance. So what move is that? I was like, it doesn't really matter. Then I stopped and I was like, it sounds like people are so caught up in that you have to do a move this way. The loss of feeling is so, like, I can see people kill a routine. Give them a routine, boom, boom. Then you say freestyle and they're just like this.
Demons enter the room. Freestyle.
There needs to be some sort of revamp, or I don't know what it is, because the battle community is shrinking incredibly right now. Because, insanely. Because they're too scared to put themselves on that pedestal.
Yeah, because there should be more love when people just jam.
Well, love
but
is
what it is,
one
if
thing,
people
but-
watching people, when people are jamming at a club, people are watching people like this. Whereas back in our day, I start something, next I turn around, there's 10 people following me. Then there's another whatever, and everyone's just love. So you don't feel intimidated.
What comes to Trocadero? Those people go to, if they feel like shy or whatever, go to places where you can jam.
For a lot of the kids that I've taught before, if you go to a freestyle battle, like I know you guys are going to be there, you're going to have Brooke, you're going to have Marvel in the pop, you're going to have all these certain people. We've got like a guy who's like amazing naturally at popping and stuff, and I'm saying, no, get down there and like do it. And he's like, nah, I'm not going to battle against like Marvel and like Brooke. And already like, they're standing at the side every time.
There's a lot more fear over the last 20 years that I've been around seeing this stuff. There was a fearlessness that we had back in the day which allowed us to just go in and challenge people and battle. Maybe there's a lot more at stake now as a result of the social networking thing, the amount of money that there is in it, the potential to be really, really big. Maybe that's not helping this sense of freedom that you need to do it. The fear thing, it's not just about people having fear of dancing. It's a much bigger fear that's going on.
That's where it's all going wrong, because I remember when I started popping, the people I went up against, I remember my first popping battle was against Chimp. He was the UK champion at the time. It was like, jeez, oh bro.
When Jonzi was doing tag, we were in Manchester someplace. I called out the Super Jay. And everybody's like, What? I said, but when we were kids, we just danced. Of course he's gonna kill me.
You actually have more to win than to lose. Because if you battle against somebody like Brooke or Marvel and you win, that's it. If you lose, then people are gonna be like, wow, okay, they lost because it's Brooke or it's Marvel, it's whatever. But if you actually win, then that's it. So you have actually more to win by going against somebody that's high than to lose.
It's getting through that.
I was in Ghana last year. They took me to this guy's club. He came and met me, he saw me and he looked at me. First thing he did, he goes, I'm gonna battle you. Everyone's watching. So man started throwing down. I didn't go like, no.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
exactly,
Like, oh, disrespect. And after his arm around my shoulder, whatever, I actually felt good. Need to bring more of that there. I feel there's a fear that you're gonna go home and man's gonna diss you on Facebook, Twitter.
Problems that I've experienced from way back in the day. I went to Covent Garden in 1980 something. And this is a long time.
Before you went,
And you was in your dad's nuts probably. But I remember standing there at Covent Garden, seeing all these amazing b-boys there, like London All-Stars, and there was no getting in, boy. It just seemed locked off. The vibe, the energy was like, this is ours and that's it. And I don't think that was how it was in France. It was a little bit more, hey, what's up?
What's going wrong in the UK? Because in America, we battle, we're very competitive. That doesn't stop us from hugging each other and saying congrats and all that stuff once the battle's over, even before it begins. And if that's what's happening in the rest of the world, I haven't been to France battles, but if that's what's happening everywhere else, and it's not happening here, what are we doing wrong?
2010, we did Hip Hop Goes Austria. I took Dwayne Taylor to do a solo. Afterwards, we were just jamming. Pro Phenomenon were around. When we were jamming, Pro Phenomenon will come up to us and they'll be like, yeah, wicked. Change that, yeah, boom, boom. And then they'll go off and go and do their thing. Then they'll come back, yeah, you do it. Yeah. Not know like, what are you doing, bruv? Yeah? It was like, yeah. Try and change the angle or whatever, all Gator and all them man there. It's just like, wow.
Everyone's like, my gang, your gang, a lot of competition. People are not coming out on the floor because they're scared. They're blatantly scared and they don't want to make a mistake. Yeah. And for me, and speaking to people like before me, it's all about being in the club and making the mistakes and finding out those things there in the essence. Everyone thinks that you need to go out, this needs to be the best freestyle I've ever done in my life, and everyone's gonna love it. It's not about that, it's about being calm with it.
How are we going to change this?
Yeah, the problem, like Malcolm said, is going back to the beginning. The people who are teaching the street dance are just teaching, let's say, the choreography, but they're not teaching the culture and the history of the actual style. And obviously, within the styles, you've got the competitiveness. When I say battling, I don't see battle as just about. For me, battle is an exchange. You're sharing. The people are teaching the dance, but they're not teaching the social side of the dance. So without
they want to, do the young people want to learn the social side? Or they just want to be, yeah, I'll go and win a competition. I don't get this feeling, me personally, that young people want to know the history. So you're talking about the history, they're like, no. How am I going to get onto Got to Dance?
What's count seven? Go in and no one goes in.
Yeah.
And I'm going, come on, no, I'll go in if you goes in, no, I'll go in if you, and no one
I
goes
guess
in.
when they do it, they do enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't think there are any events, battle or otherwise, in the UK I've ever been to and seen that people have been standoffish or have ever slated anybody on Facebook or Twitter. Yes, there's been some call-outs and some shout-outs, but that's because people were running their mouth. That's what happened. Before we had Twitter, it was just generally done on the street. I don't know where this misconception came from, that if you go to this battle, everybody's going to be really standoffish. Actually, it's not like that.
That still comes down to education. I've been recently doing a lot of trips to Russia. This is one studio that I go to. They have a freestyle class, and everybody has to do it. And it makes a big difference when you watch them dance. You really feel it.
Unless we do that, then yeah, because styles here are dying right now. We lost lock-in from the B-boy champs. That is insane. There's no more lock-in in the B-boy
And
champs.
funky styles.
And funky styles as well. Malcolm, you're killing us here. As Kashmir was saying, in terms of like building the street dance, the inspiration that you can get from an exchange is insane. You can't get that from in front of a mirror in the studio.
To talk about the whole loss of locking for a second. There is a reason for that. It's a lot of nastiness. About 6 months ago, I didn't even want to go on Facebook anymore because I got so tired of hearing other people running each other down. A lot of it was in the locking, whacking community. Why would you want to go battle if you know that the next day there's going to be 75 posts about your style? If you're judging and you go out there and you freestyle and someone runs you down.
There's a lot of keyboard bravado. People at home, in their comfort of their house, talking a lot of crap, a lot of shit, a lot of intimidation. It's always been there, but I think the internet and social media has just like changed the shape of it, and people are a bit more confident to criticize. As new dancers, they're a bit more apprehensive about going to these events in the first place, or even taking part, having something to say. Before, you might just go there and you have to deal with it on the spot. You're already dealing with it at home, so you would already just like avoid going to these events. It's a sad thing, but that needs to change for more people to get back into battling, more people to have more confidence to make mistakes when they're out there and not feel like this solo needs to be the best solo I've ever done in my life every time they go out there. It's about experimentation.